if I do it out of Adobe Acrobat, I think it's going to work. Okay, so you had on here a couple problems. So 11, there was a typo on there, and I tried to fix it on the answer key, but by then a lot of you had tried it and you were running in circles and having problems with it. So this is the way 11 should have appeared for you. I apologize for that. But hopefully you're able to get that to work for you. Any questions on 11, the way it's written here? And this should be a 4. Didn't come through very well, but that's a 4 there. Okay. And then 15 was the other bugger. And this is the way 15 should have looked. So again, I apologize for that. Are my flowers in anybody's way? Can you see through? Okay. Is that better? If there's ever stuff obstructing, certainly modify, okay? All right. So that being said, with these, now they should balance easily. Any questions about any of the balancing or anything like that? You will find that with stuff like this, if you are not writing the formulas out correctly, some of these will never balance. Okay. So that's why I was harping on you so much before we got into this chapter for the past 2 chapters about knowing how to write these formulas. Because when you get to this chapter and the subsequent ones that are coming up, you're going to have a real devil of a time getting through this if you can't write a formula out. Okay. What other questions do you have regarding yep, number 10? So that was on. Oh, yeah. So number 10 is a good one to kind of talk about. Let's go over here. I want to do that one for you full out without just giving you the answer to it. So number 10 is here. Now, this is one of those that I was talking about yesterday that was one of the combustion, and this is going to be combustion of what's called a hydrocarbon, where you have hydrogen and carbon present in that thing. Now, here's my hint for these. Oh, will this let me write on here? Maybe it will now. Here's my hint for these. When you are doing these, look at your carbon in your hydrocarbon. If this is an even number, start by putting a 2 here as your coefficient. Just start out that way. You may have to reduce everything down in the end, but a lot of times that is kind of the key to get you going with this properly. Hey, honey. Who are you looking for? Oh, he's right there. Blue shirt. Okay, and we're going to do that. Okay, now I'm going to start balancing this. I see here that I have 8 carbons, and here I have 20 hydrogens. You see how I got 20? 10 times 2, that's 20. My oxygens right now are at 2. When I come over here, I'm just going to go ahead and start balancing this out. I can see that I'm going to need 8 carbon. So I'm going to start by putting an 8 there. So that's going to give me my 8 carbon that I need. It's going to give me also 16 oxygens. Then I'm going to knock on my hydrogen here. Over here, 10 times 2 is the same thing as 2 times 10. So that takes my hydrogens up to 20. And it also gives me another 10 oxygens for a total of 26. So now I need to come over here and get 26 oxygens. So if I put a 13 here, that's going to take me up to 26. Okay. After you're done, go through and make sure that these can't be reduced. Occasionally this hack doesn't work and everything can be divided by 2. So always go back and double check. But I'd say maybe like 90% of the time, this works. Okay. All right. What else you want to talk about?
Can we do number 4?
4? Sure. So 4, this is one that we can't keep together. So we have Na, we have N, and we have O. So over here, I've got 1 sodium, 1 nitrogen, 3 oxygens. Over here, I have 1 sodium, 1 nitrogen, and 4 oxygens. All right. My rule is even and odd. I'm going to double my odds. So I'm going to start out there. Then I'm going to come back over here. I need to have 2 of these. So I'm going to put a 2 here. That's going to give me 2 sodiums. It's going to give me 2 nitrogens. And it's going to give me 4 oxygens here, plus another 2 takes me up to 6. See where there's little hints like can come into, they help you out a lot if you kind of work with them. Okay. All right. What else? What else do you want to talk about? So everything's good on the homework? No other issues other than my typos? So on your quiz today, you're going to have one of these, like this. You're going to have, you're going to have one of these where you have to write the formula in and balance it. And then you're going to have matching where I've got balanced equations and you have to figure out which ones are synthesis combustion, but they're already balanced. So all you have to do is look at them and figure out. I haven't had anybody in second. I had 12 people in second hour. Everybody got that section perfect. Okay. So, and almost everybody ended up with a perfect score on the whole thing. So it was a pretty good quiz. So, okay. You good? You ready? Ready to move on to notes for today? Make sure you have out your periodic table. And then I'm going to give you another item. This item is your balancing equations reference sheet. Okay? And you will be able to use my copy of this on any test or quiz from here on out this year. Okay? So you don't have to memorize anything on the reference sheet. It's like your periodic table. You just have to know how to use it. I'm going to take you through. All right. So we are going to be dealing first with decomposition reactions. Okay. So these decomposition reactions can be easily identified because you only have one thing here. There's no plus sign here, as opposed to down here in the synthesis where you've got a plus sign. So it's pretty easy to see where you're dealing with a decomp because there's no plus sign at the beginning. Okay. Now the stuff that I gave you yesterday, I was giving you what your reactants were and what your products are. Now you're going to have to use that reference sheet to help you figure out what your products are going to be in these reactions. Okay. So let's take the first one here. We have lithium chlorate So this is the formula for lithium chlorate. Remember, you've got to go and back to chapter 7 and figure out what the oxidation number is of this and what the oxidation number is of this and what a chlorate looks like. Well, this has a +1. This is a -2 or -1. So this is already, the formula is already balanced. Now we've got to figure out what our products are going to be. So we've identified this as a decomposition reaction. Again, there's nothing else here. There's nothing to synthesize with. There's nothing to swap places with. So it has to be decomposition. The only thing it can do is fall apart. Okay, so you're going to isolate where that is on your reference sheet. Okay, and if you go down on the first page, down to the second section there, that reference sheet says that this is a decomposition reaction. If you have only one reactant, this is what you're going to choose. And now you have to figure out of those 5 different options, which option you're going to be working with. Okay. So, is this a binary compound? Well, we have more than 2 things here, so it's not that. Electrolysis is the breakdown of water. Well, this isn't water, so it's not that one. So if we keep going down our list, the next one is decomposition of a metallic chlorate. Is this a metal chlorate? So that's the one that we're going to choose. It says then, if we continue after the arrow, it says that we're going to form a metallic chloride. So what is my metal in this compound? Lithium. So I'm going to form lithium chloride. What else am I forming? O2. She just kept looking along that line and it told her that that was O2. All right. Now, be careful. Okay. This is where people get tripped up a lot. When you get this part written down, you need to go back to chapter 7, okay, in your brain, back to chapter 7, and you need to evaluate these oxidation numbers and see if this needs any subscripts. Okay. This is all balanced out, so we don't need any subscripts. You cannot go over here and pull subscripts to this side. Don't do it. It'll work about 10% of the time, but that's only going to give you 10% on a test. That's not good. Okay. So again, I'm not going to write down O3. This isn't forming ozone. It's forming oxygen. Okay. After you get your subscripts taken care of and all of your formulas balanced, then you've got to go back and you've got to balance your equation. So we're going to go back. I'm going to look here. I'm going to do my inventory, Li, Cl, O. Again, these are like training wheels. So when you get to the point where you're like, I don't need to do these inventories, like write them down, I can just do them in my head, then just do them in your head. But if you need them all year, use them. Okay. My rule is even and odd. What do I do? Double the odd. So I'm going to put a 2 here. That's going to affect everything on that side. I need to come over here now. I need to get my lithium and my chlorine balance. So I have 2 over here of each of those. If I put a 2 here, that's going to get those in balance. And this is 6 and a 2. If I put a 3 here, that'll get my oxygen balanced. Okay. Make sense? All right. Next one is aluminum hydroxide. Aluminum is a +3. Hydroxide is a -1. So I need 3 hydroxides to balance out that aluminum. If I go to my reaction type sheet, my reference sheet, this is not a binary compound. We have 3 elements here. It's not water. It is not a chlorate, nor is it a carbonate. So this is option E in the decomposition section. That option E says that we are going to have a metal hydroxide, which is going to form a metallic oxide. So I'm going to form aluminum oxide. What else does it form? Water. Okay. Now, next step, I'm going to go in my time warp back to chapter 7. And I'm going to balance this formula out. This is a +3 and a -2. So I need 2 of these and 3 of these to get that formula balanced out. You cannot go back over here to get your subscripts. Do not do it. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Once you have done that, then you can set about balancing this equation. I think it might already, no, it's not. No, it's not. I take that back. So I got my aluminum, I got my oxygen, I got my hydrogen. Yep.
Why can't you just make an HOH for the OH?
I can, but that's not going to help me here. I'm still going to have to count my oxygens. So, because it's not OH here as well, that's not going to work. So we're going to have to break it out because we've got oxygen here. All right, we've got 1 aluminum, we've got 3, and we've got 3 over here. We've got 2, 4, and 2. I got the 4 for oxygen because I've got 3 here plus 1 here gives me 4. All right. Rule: even and odd, double the odd. So I'm going to put a 2 here. That's going to give me 2 times 3 times 1 is 6. And for the hydrogen, 2 times 3 times 1, give me 6. So now I need more oxygen on this side, and I need more hydrogen. I am going to start with the hydrogen. The reason why I'm starting with the hydrogen is the oxygen's in 2 places. If I start with the hydrogen, it's going to be easier to kind of work with. And watch what happens when I do that. I need 6 over here. So if I put a 3 here, that's going to give me 6 hydrogens. It will also give me 3 oxygens from here, plus how many oxygens from here? 3, for a total of, and I'm balanced. See why I started with that hydrogen down there instead of the oxygen? Because it being in multiple places makes it a little messier. All right. Questions on those? Okay, so let's go down to synthesis. Synthesis, there's only like 3 different types here. There's a type where you've got 2 elements coming together. There's a type where you have a metal oxide and water coming together. And then there's a very rare one that we don't really use hardly at all, where we're making acids. So I'm just going to start with this one up here. I've got my sodium and I've got my oxygen. Remember, your oxygen is a Brinkelhoff. And I'm going to make what? We're synthesizing. We're bringing them together. Well, in this case, yep, an oxide. So we're going to make sodium oxide. Okay. Now, this is one where people will often, don't do what I'm about to do. They will go over and they'll just do that and write it down. You cannot, I'm screaming at you right now. You cannot do that, okay? When you come over to this side, you have to go back and balance out that formula. This is a +1. This is a -2. So I need 2 of these for every one of these. Do you see how bringing that subscript over, you're not going to end up with the right formula? You've got to reevaluate that and make sure that you're getting the right stuff in. Okay. Now, now I'm going to balance. And this is probably one where you can start pulling the training wheels off for. Okay. You probably don't need necessarily to write down all those inventories for this. Okay. Over here, I have 2 oxygens. Over here, I have 1. So even and odd, what am I doing? Okay, so I'm going to put a 2 here. Now I can visually see that those oxygens are balanced. But what about my sodium? No. So I need to put a 4 here, and now I've got that guy balanced. Okay. Again, this is probably one where you might be to the point where you don't need to write them. If you do, write them all year. I don't care. It's not gonna hurt anything. It's just some people are ready before other people. Okay. All right. Make sure when you're doing number 4 that you look at that instruction up here, because that's going to help you out a little bit. Number 5 is one of those oxides in water. So I want to do that one with you. This is going to be calcium oxide. You're going to add water to that. Okay. And if you look on your reaction type sheet for synthesis, it is going to say that a metallic oxide in water is going to form what? Metallic hydroxide. So what is my metal? Calcium. So I'm going to form what? Calcium hydroxide. Okay. Again, you write that formula down. What's the next step? Balance the formula. I've got a +2. Hydroxide is a -1. I need 2 of these for every one of these. And this is the case with that hydroxide that a lot of you are forgetting to put these parentheses on there. You got to be careful. Okay. And I think, I'm pretty sure this one's already balanced. So again, you can do your inventories if you'd like, but that guy's already balanced. All right. Questions on anything? You want me to go over anything else on this? Some of it's just going to take practice. Okay. All right. I am going to hand out your quiz. You can do your quiz and then you can start